thank you very much. I'm thrilled to be back with the hardworking patriots of the great state of Michigan. Nice state. And I also want to thank Allro Steel CEO Randy Glick. Just met Randy, and he's fantastic. The job the family's done, he's done. It's beautiful. And all of the talented workers here at Allro Steel, I hope you're all happy. Are you happy with the company? I think, yes. Huh? I think. Great company. And congratulations on 76 years of manufacturing in Michigan. And you had your best years 4 years ago, but you're going to have even better years coming up, I can tell you that. You're going to have even better. I'm here today with a simple message for the American auto worker and for the American worker. Your long economic nightmare will very soon be over. It's going to be over. We're going to turn it around. With your vote, we will defeat Comrade Kamala Harris. And we will bring back the American dream, bigger, better, stronger, and just better, bigger, better. We love the American dream. You don't hear about the American dream. When was the last time you heard about the American dream? They don't talk about it, although they copy everything else I do, so I guess that'll be next. They'll be copying. They'll be saying, oh, the American dream. She doesn't know what the American dream is. Over the past 4 years, Kamala and crooked Joe Biden have presided over an economic reign of terror, committing one financial atrocity after another. As vice president, Kamala cast the deciding votes that caused the worst inflation in American history. You're all victims of it. We all are. Everybody is a victim of it. It's a nation buster, costing the typical family $28,000. Under her policies, household wealth has plummeted by $33,000 per family. The cost of the typical monthly mortgage has really tripled, and you can't get the money. So, you know, you will go from 2% to 10%, but you can't get the money at 10%. I guess they want more than that, but you just can't get the money. Credit card debt has ballooned by 40%, and they have the highest numbers in history right now. As of about 3 days ago, the highest number in history. Now Kamala says she wants to talk about the future, but she's been there for 3.5 years. She only wants to talk about the future because the past has been so, the job they've done. Let me tell you, he's the worst president in the history of our country, and she's the worst vice president, and she's the worst border czar in the history of the world. And she's the one who gave us every single disaster that our country is facing right now. Look at Afghanistan. She said, I was the last person in the room. What a horrible, horrible event that was. Kamala's made middle-class life unaffordable and unlivable, and I'm going to make America affordable again. In addition to making it great again, we're going to make it affordable again, and that's going to be starting on day one. Isn't it amazing? They go 3 years, and now they say, oh, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. The only good thing that she's flip-flopping. She's the greatest flip-flopper. Things that she never even thought of. She probably goes back to her room and gets sick to her stomach when she says what she has to say, because she's a Marxist, she's a fascist, and she never believed. I mean, now she's saying, oh, we want to build a strong border. Where has she been for 3.5 years? As we took in 20 million people, many of them horrible criminals. My vision is for a middle class that is once again the envy of the entire world. It's going to happen. It's going to happen fast. Thank you. Workers like you and communities like this should be able to afford a nice house, a new car, and a growing family on a single income, all while enjoying the highest standard of living on earth, right? Thank you. Americans deserve safe streets, secure borders, great schools, healthy children, bustling factories, and a nation that is confident and a nation that is strong. That's the future that I intend to deliver, and I will deliver. And you had the best economy in the history of our country just a short while ago, and now you have what they call inflation, what that has done to this country. And frankly, they've done also worse, and you're going to end up in World War III with these people. I'll tell you what, we've never been so close to World War III. And, you know, with the power of weapons, I always say this isn't two army tanks running back and forth shooting at each other. The power of weapons today, Very dangerous, very bad. We have people, do we have a president? He just got back from California. He was supposed to go to the White House. He never got there. He went to Delaware, and he's laying on a beach sleeping all day long. No, seriously, who the hell wants to sleep? And who wants to sleep in public? He's sleeping. Do you think President Xi of China is at a beach sleeping? Do you think Kim Jong-un is sleeping from North Korea with his nuclear weapons all over the place? They don't sleep so much. And we have a guy sleeping. And she's incompetent. She can't do an interview? It's been months. She can't. I just did an interview backstage. She was a very terrible person, but she was okay, actually. NBC fake news. It was NBC fake news. She asked me about all sorts of things. She asked me about abortion, and I handled it very nicely because you know what? That's so overplayed. We have abortion. We have the whole thing brought back into the states where it belongs. That's where everybody wanted it for years and years and years. And they're voting on it. And I happen to believe in the exceptions Ronald Reagan did for life of the mother, rape, incest. The exceptions, probably 90% of the people do. But you know, I was just telling this reporter, the real problem and the real radicals on that issue are the Democrats, where you can have an abortion in the 9th month. And in 6 states, you're allowed to kill the baby after the baby is born. And you know, one of those states is Minnesota, where this tampon Tim comes from. Kill the baby after the baby's born. So that's no longer abortion. That's called execution, right? You're allowed to execute the baby after the baby. They're the radical. Kamala is promising communist-style price controls, free taxpayer-funded health care. Not that you're going to want. Nobody in this room is going to want it. For all illegal aliens, mass amnesty and citizenship for the millions and millions of migrants she lets in. She wants to give citizenship to people that have come here illegally. They didn't come through the system. You know, we want people to come into our country, but they have to come in legally, right? They have to come in legally. We're taking people that are murderers and drug dealers, and she wants to give them amnesty. I tell you, I don't get it. But all of this will destroy Medicare and will destroy your Social Security. She called for the abolition of ICE. You know, ICE, these are great patriots. These are tough people. I'm looking at some of these people right in the front row. They're tough as hell, but you don't want to be an ICE. You don't want to walk into MS-13 gangs and start slugging it out. These guys are seriously tough, and they love our country. You know, somebody's got to do it. I took them out by the thousands. Now they don't want to take them out anymore. They want to let ICE, the worst gang probably in the world, the meanest, the nastiest. They slice up people with knives. They'd rather use a knife than a gun because it's more painful. They killed 2 young students walking to school, 2 beautiful young 16-year-old girls walking to school. They sliced them up in Long Island. And they want to let these people stay, and we're not going to let them stay. We want to get them the hell out of our country. Kamala sponsored a bill to blow up the entire U.S. healthcare system and force every American into a socialist government-run program with rationing and deadly wait times. You go there and they say, that's good, we're going to be all set for you. Come back in 3 months. She endorsed a 70 to 80% tax rate increase. Look at this. She thinks the rate could be as much as 80%. She says, I'll think about that. Well, I won't think about it, okay? I won't think about anywhere near it. In fact, we're going for a tax cut. You know, we gave you the biggest tax cut in history, and that gave us tremendous numbers of jobs. And we actually took in more income the following year after the cut because our country was booming like it had never boomed before. She supports abolishing cash bail so that when you murder somebody, oh, don't worry about it. You're free to go. No cash, no nothing. And then they go murder somebody else, and in some cases, much more than one person. And she endorsed the Marxist crusade to defund the police. Do you know that she was the leader of the defund the police? Does anybody in Michigan, I said, why don't I just walk up? I don't have to waste a lot of time. You're all fans, right? Is anybody here not going to vote for Trump? I'm just kidding. Raise your hand if you have the courage to do that. I think pretty good. No, but, you know, I said, why do I have to make a speech? All I have to do is say, she was the leader of the defund the police movement. And then I say, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much, and leave. Because when you hear that, no, she's a Marxist. Her father's a Marxist. He's a Marxist professor. It's very nice. This election is not a choice between Democrats and Republicans. It's a choice between communism and freedom. That's what it's about. And nobody really knows her. They were doing something, the man on the street, they said, you know Harris? Everyone's saying, who the hell is Harris? Nobody knows who Harris is. What's the vice president's name? They have no idea what the name is. Now, the name Kamala is, it's a little complex because about 19 different ways of pronouncing it, right? But Kamala is, at least it's a name you sort of remember. You can't use Harris because nobody knows who the hell Harris is. Who's Harris? We want somebody they know. And, you know, one of the reasons they don't know, she did a lousy job. She was considered the worst vice president in history. I don't know who does this stuff, but she was considered the worst. Kamala will turn America into a third world country. Will happen. It's already getting there. I hate to tell you. When you look at our borders, when you look at our elections, our rigged elections, when you look at all the crap that's going on, we're turning into a third. When you look at how they go weaponize against me, they're doing absolutely nothing wrong. I got indicted, I think, 9 different times. 9 times. I never even knew what an indictment was for my whole life. All of a sudden, the last year, I think I had 9 indictments, far more than Alphonse Capone, who was quite well known in Chicago and the environs. He liked killing people, but he had nothing like me. 9 times, you know, and every time they see me going up in the polls, and we're leading in the polls, and I think we're leading by a lot. You know, the polls are rigged, too. The polls are rigged, too. You know, they say Donald Trump is tied. You know, we were up massively by Biden. How would you like to be me? I spent $100 million on beating Biden. We had a debate, and everybody said, this guy's shot. They never give me credit. They say he was shot. Maybe I did a good job. Somebody said that was the greatest debate performance I've ever said. And then you know what? That I've ever seen. Said, it was a CNN person. Said, this is the single greatest debate performance I've ever seen. 2 days later, they forgot about that. They said he was terrible. You know, but that's all right. Whatever it takes. But, you know, I spent $100 million on fighting him. We weren't fighting anyone else. We weren't fighting a vice president. We didn't even know who the hell she was. And then all of a sudden they say, Joe, you're losing badly. You got to get out. He was losing by a lot. But they went up to him. They said, get out. That's like you're in a fight, and you have a fighter, and he's doing great. And they say, listen, we're going to take the opponent out. We're going to throw another guy in to finish it off. That's what they did, really. It's never been done before. And, you know, she was last online. And she came in last. I think there were like 22 people. She was the first one to get out. And she got out. She had no votes. She had no votes. She was supposed to go to Iowa. She quit before Iowa. That was the first state. She never made it to Iowa. And now she's running. And what about those other 20 or so people? They did much better than her. And they're saying they're sitting home watching television. But, you know, they're having a big discussion now because they don't understand why she refuses to sit down for just an interview. And they've got a lot of friendly. You know, it's much easier being a Democrat because you see all the fake news back there. If you're a Democrat, they say he just gave the greatest speech that we've ever heard. Not since FDR has there been a speech. I saw this with Biden. He made a State of the Union address. It was so bad. Oh, it was so bad. I saw her make a speech. It was so bad. And after they get off, this was one of the greatest performances we've ever seen in our country. With me, I make a speech. I speak for 2 hours. Everybody loves it. I got thousands of people, by the way, outside trying to get in. They never said Trump's a great speaker. I don't even want that. But I must be a great speaker, right? I must. We got thousands of people. No, we got thousands and thousands. Boy, if I were a Democrat, they'd say, he's the greatest that ever lived. He made Abraham Lincoln look like nothing. But no, I don't care about that. I care about winning for our country. I care about making America great again, and that's what we're going to do. So we're pleased to be joined today by some really great winners, champions, patriots, and one of them is Lisa McClain, Congresswoman. Where's Lisa? Hi, Lisa. You are doing amazing. I'll tell you, don't be fooled by her. She's a very nice person, but she's brutal when it comes to your state, when it comes to jobs, right, Lisa? And she's proud of it, too. Yep, she is. Thank you. Great job. And another man that I picked out of a large group, I said, this guy's got what it takes. He's a highly respected person. He's running for the U.S. Senate, and I think he's going to win. I just saw a poll where he's leading by a little bit. It's not an easy race. It's not an easy race, but the other one is going to be just a disaster. She's going to vote everything that whoever it would be, except me, they won't, but hopefully we're not going to need it. But she's a disaster. Mike Rogers is one of the most respected people in Washington, and he will be, I believe, your next senator. Great Mike. He is actually one of the most respected people in Washington, and he came out of a large group of Republicans that all wanted the same job, and he really did. He ran a great race, won easily. He had my endorsement, that helped, but he did. He won easily, and he's got great gravitas. Your next congressman, and you're going to have a great congressman who I think is going to win, Tom Barrett. Tom. Thank you, Tom. Great job. I heard you're doing well, Tom. Good. Running against somebody that's not good. Not good for your state, not good for our country. Michigan House Republican leader Matt Hall. Are we going to win, Matt? He gave me a good summary. He said, you're going to win, sir. You know, they have these fake polls. They're almost as bad as the fake writers, the fake news. We interviewed 49 Democrats for a poll. We interviewed 49 Democrats and 21 Republicans. You know, it's a little thing on the bottom. I'm surprised they even put it. They probably must be a law. But they put it 49 Democrats and 21 Republicans. And the race is tied. They said, tied? How the hell can it be tied? So tied means I'm leading by like 14 or 15 points. I don't know. But it's fake news. It's as bad. It's as bad as they are with a pen. I'm telling you, it's really bad. They can make those polls sing. They can make them do whatever they want. Michigan Senate Republican leader Eric Nesbitt. Eric, thank you. Great job. What a beautiful young daughter. What a beautiful young daughter. Great. Thanks, Eric. Thanks very much. We also have some people of great distinction. Justice David Viviano is here with us. David. Thank you, David. Highly respected Justice. Thank you, David. Judge Patrick O'Grady. Patrick is here someplace. Where's Patrick? Another one, highly respected. So whatever you're doing, keep it going. Good. And Tudor Dixon, who really ran a good race. Where is Tudor? Well, hi, Tudor. She's a great person. Loves this state and loves the workers. I knew her father. Her father was in the steel business. Successful guy. I knew him as he was leaving our planet, right? Leaving. He was very sick and leaving, but he loved his daughter. He was so proud of you. So he's up there watching. Thank you very much, Tudor. Appreciate it. And Brian Pannebecker, who's like a friend of mine. This guy. Where is he? Where's Brian? Where is he? Do you want to come up? Come on up here, Brian. This guy, he thinks the United Auto Workers have the worst leader and that they're crazy. They're going to be driven out of business. All the business is going to China. Within 2-3 years, you're not going to have auto workers in this. If they vote for Trump, we're going to bring in factories at levels that you've never seen before. We're going to get the auto workers' jobs back like it was 30 years ago and 40 years ago before everybody left. We're going to get it back at levels that you've never seen. Brian, say hello, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. And the last time you called me up on stage in Grand Rapids, it was the first rally that you'd held since the assassination attempt. And honestly, I was speechless. But tonight, I want to say a couple things real briefly. I represent the Auto Workers for Trump organization, which was a Facebook group. I started that group. Thank you. There's some auto workers here, I'm sure. Lansing got a lot of them. But unfortunately, a lot of them have lost their jobs. Listen, Chrysler and General Motors have already gone bankrupt once. But if we allow electric vehicle mandates to be put on this industry by the federal government, they're going out of business again. We got to fight against that. And this guy standing right here is the only person who will do it. We cannot allow the federal government to put mandates on the auto industry to build electric vehicles when the consumers do not want them. So I'm asking everybody. I'm asking auto workers, and I'm asking everybody that supplies the auto industry, get 10 or 15 of your friends, make sure they get out and vote. Our very survival depends on it, and we can't allow it to happen. So vote Trump and J.D. Vance, and we'll turn this country around. He's done it once. Unfortunately, he's going to have to go back and do it again. Thank you.
You know, as he's speaking, look at the arms of this guy.
Cut it out. Cut it out.
Look at that.
Cut it out.
Well, let me see. He's really great and a real patriot, and it's true. You know, they're building, I don't know if you know, numerous of the biggest auto plants in the world right now.
In Mexico.
Right near the border in Mexico, owned by China. They think they're going to build the cars and send them in, and with this administration, they won't even know what's happening. They'll take every single job. You're not going to have any auto workers within 2 years, maybe 3 years. Nobody's going to be making cars here. I told them, if you do that, we're going to put tariffs on at 200, 250%. You're never going to sell one car in this country. And they didn't build them. And then as soon as I left, because of a bad situation that happened, because we did great in this state too.
Yeah, you won it.
But a bad situation that happened, corrupt, bad situation. You have to keep your eyes open this time.
Yep.
But, you know, they use COVID to cheat. Very simple. They use COVID to cheat. But I told them, I said, you do it, you're not going to sell any cars. As soon as I was gone, they started construction, and they're almost finished, and that's going to wipe you out. They're the biggest plants anywhere in the world. A friend of mine builds plants, and I think he's building these. I said, I want to see some big plants. I want to go and tour some of the big auto plants. That's all he does. Honestly, he's a great guy. Can't walk across the street. He can build a plant like nobody. He said, sir, you're going to have to come to Mexico. I said, no, I want to see one in the United States. He said, the big ones are being built in Mexico. That's no good. And we're not going to let it happen. We're not going to, they can build their plant. They're not going to have any cars coming into this country. If they want to build a plant, they can. They're going to build it in Michigan or at least someplace in our country. Thank you.
The UAW members realize this now, and I'm doing a rally at a different auto plant every week. I started in June. We're going to go all the way to November. And we're talking to the auto workers as they come off their shift and go into work, and 70 or 80% of them are voting for Donald Trump because they know their jobs depend on it.
Wow. That guy's, he's a dynamic guy, isn't he, huh? No, it's really, look, I didn't know Brian. He just knows that, you know, we had 4 great years. But I got an award years ago in Michigan. I got Man of the Year a long time ago. In fact, the fake news said, I never got it, I never got it. I made it up. I didn't make it up. And then they found out I actually did get it. I was lucky. They found out who it was. It was like a Chamber of Commerce someplace. And I gave a whole speech. This was probably 15 years ago, 17 years ago. I gave a speech on why are you letting them steal your auto manufacturing business? And it only got worse and worse and worse. Then I stopped it. And then as soon as I was gone, they let it happen. And these plants that are being built all around the world are going to take all of your business. And I'm a big fan of electric cars, but they're limited. They don't go far. They're very expensive. And they're going to all be made in China because they have the material. But we have more liquid gold under our feet than anybody else. It's called gasoline for what we talk about. And we want to build gasoline-propelled cars, but we also want to build hybrids, and we want to build electric cars. You know, Elon Musk, I think he's great, and he endorsed me very strongly. I said, listen, you know, I'm all for electric cars, but not all of them, because they really don't go far yet, but they're incredible. The job he's done and the job that others have done are great, and it's called a market. You have to be able to buy what you want to buy. There'll be another form of car. They talk about hydrogen now. They talk about all sorts of things. But it's called a market. But we can't do that. They want to put, and like immediately, all electric cars. But we don't have enough electricity to supply ourselves right now. You go out to California, which was destroyed by Kamala. Destroyed. She destroyed the city of San Francisco and I own a big building there. It's no, I shouldn't talk about this, but that's okay. I don't give a damn because this is what I'm doing. I should say it's the finest city in the world. Sell and get the hell out of there, right? But I can't do that. I don't care, you know. I lost billions of dollars. You know, somebody said, what do you think he lost? I said, probably 2-3 billion. That's okay. I don't care. They said, do you think you'd do it again? And that's the least of it. Nobody. They always say that, I don't know if you know, Lincoln was horribly treated. Jefferson was pretty horribly. Andrew Jackson, they say, was the worst of all, that he was treated worse than any other president. And I said, do that study again, because I think there's nobody close to Trump. I even got shot. And who the hell knows where that came from, right? No, these are bad people. They're sick people. You know, we have people on the outside, the countries, but if you have a smart president, the countries will be an asset, not a liability. That includes China. That includes Russia. If you have a smart president, but we don't have a smart president right now, by the way, you're going to end up in World War III. This period of time better happen fast, because we have nobody running our country. We have nobody at the Resolute desk. There's nobody, the two of them. She's no good, and he's sleeping. In fact, I'm going to go back to the name for him, Sleepy Joe, instead of Crooked Joe. Did you see they found last week, Brian, he took $28 million. They say he stole his family, took $28 million, and nothing happened. That was the night he made his brilliant speech, which was all about Trump. You know, everything they do, they talk about Trump. They talk about Trump, I think, 347 times. They talked about the border once. They talked about crime twice. They talked about all of the things that you should be talking about, not at all. But they talk about Trump. And look, we did something that they're very angry about. We beat somebody that should have been beaten in an election that we weren't anticipated to win. But I thought we were going to win, because I came to Michigan the night before. We had 49,000 people. She came to Michigan the night before because she was told she may lose it. And this was an upset, so they had a fast tour. She had like 300 people. I said, why would we lose? We had a crowd. You wouldn't have believed it. Half of you were probably there. But we're also joined by a very incredible service member. I presented him with a thing called the Congressional Medal of Honor. And he is a fantastic man, and he's a good-looking guy. I don't know. He looks better than he did when I presented. Something's good. He's doing good. Specialist 5, James McLuhan. Where's James? James? Thank you, James. Look good. Good head of hair. Look at him. Got that good Irish, Scottish, whatever hair. Look at that guy. Stand up. Just stand up. Come here. I'm proud of him. I wouldn't have done what he did. I know what he did. What he did. I always say there are two awards: is the Medal of Honor, and oftentimes is posthumously, where, you know, they're not there. Oftentimes they've died in battle and they're getting the award. And then you have the civilian version, the Presidential Medal. And I always say I'd rather get the Presidential Medal, because the guys that came in, other than you and a few others, oftentimes they've suffered greatly, right? They've suffered greatly, or they're not around. But it's our highest award, and it's an honor to have you here, and I'm very proud that I was able to give you the award. Thanks, James. In 4 short years under my leadership, we passed record tax cuts, record regulation cuts, and built the greatest economy in the history of the world. I ended NAFTA, the worst trade deal ever made. You people had to suffer with it for years. And replaced it with the USMCA, that's Mexico and Canada, which they say is the best trade deal ever made. Actually, the best deal I made probably was with China, but I don't talk about it, because once COVID came in, that was the end of China. Once they did that to the world, not to us, to the whole world, $59 trillion of damages and millions of people. And it should have, and it came out of Wuhan, the lab. It came out of the labs. And that's where I said it came from. And it was incompetence. It was a mistake. I believe it was a mistake. A lot of people don't think so. A lot of people think they did it because I was getting hundreds of billions of dollars in tariffs from China. You know, no president had ever gotten anything from China. I got hundreds of billions of dollars in tariffs and saved a lot of jobs by doing that because they ended up not being able to do what they were doing. And I saved the steel industry also, as you know. Those are the guys that like me the most. But now I see U.S. Steel, the great U.S. Steel. U.S. Steel is being sold to Japan. I don't like that. Can you imagine U.S. Steel? That was the greatest company in the world 70 years ago, 60-something years ago. U.S. Steel is going to be sold to Japan. I wouldn't let it happen. I just wouldn't let it happen. Such a big benchmark. That shouldn't be going to Japan. They should rebuild it. They should do whatever they have to do, would work with them, would make it great again, just like we're going to make our country great again. Under Kamala, we are rapidly approaching economic and social catastrophe. Most Americans are unaware that Harris and Biden have been shutting down entire swaths of our energy and electricity infrastructure without replacing it or even talking about it, leading to soaring electrical prices and energy prices, and also an energy shortfall like we've never had before. They're closing down things that shouldn't be closed down. This week, Harris officially banned drilling on 28 million acres of public lands. So what they did is when they came in, what caused inflation, other than their spending, which was a big factor, but it's energy, because they came in and they wanted to terminate everything I was doing, and the prices were going through the roof for gasoline and everything. So they said, put it back, put it back. So it all came back, or most of it came back. Maybe not to the same, but pretty close. They said, go back, after the election. If they ever won, it's all gone. But what they don't say is they'll say, oh, but we have the similar to Trump. And that's sort of true, but what they don't have is they don't have ANWR. They gave up ANWR, the biggest site anywhere in the world in Alaska that I got done. Ronald Reagan couldn't get it done. But really, most importantly, what they don't have is we were going to be 4 to 5 times bigger by now. So when they say they had it back, they only had it back to where I was. We were going to have so much energy coming out of the ground, so much liquid gold. We were going to pay off debt. We were going to reduce your taxes further. I mean, we have more liquid gold than Saudi Arabia. We have more than Russia, and we were going to use it. And you know where we're getting a lot of our energy now? Venezuela, which isn't even, it's tar. You know that. It's tar. And you know where it's refined? There's only one plant in the entire world that can do it. It happens to be in Houston, Texas. So for those of you that don't like particles going into the air, take a look at that mess. And we have clean, beautiful stuff. We have the best. We have the best and we have the most. And we don't use it. We go to electric or we go to something else. You almost say, do they hate our country? Because it's so incompetent. Do they hate our country? The first thing I will do to make middle-class life dramatically more affordable is to end Kamala's war on American energy, terminate her Green New Scam, and drill a baby drill. We're going to drill baby drill. Since Harris took office, more than 50 power plants have been shut down. Many of these were great plants, but they didn't like the way they were fueled up. Many of them are needed to create electricity. It's like, it starts from somewhere. It doesn't start from electricity. And by the way, just a little side note. So AI is a big deal. For us to compete successfully with China and others on AI, we're going to need twice the electricity that we currently produce. Can you believe that? We're not going to be even close. The only guy that can do that is a guy like me. I opened up 2 plants in Louisiana that went through 14 years, LNG plants. They went through 14 years of approvals and were turned down. I got it done in one day. One day, we got it opened. Those owners, whoever they were actually people going to spend $16 billion. These are the biggest, just like the Empire State Building on its side times 3. The longest, biggest buildings you've ever seen. All they had is pipes inside. I said, what the hell kind of a building is this? But you know what? Billions of dollars. And they got turned down. I got it approved in one of them. One day, the owner or the head of the company couldn't believe it. He said, I got a call. I guarantee you a consultant somewhere that represented him. So I did a great job. I didn't speak to consultants. I just got it done. And now they're up and they're roaring and they're just fantastic. Under Kamala's radical power plant rule, issued by the EPA, all coal-fired power plants will be forced to close in the next few years. What are you going to do? Gutting more than 1/6 of the power, and really we're going to go to a very weak form of producing power. We don't have energy that can power up those big, massive plants that we need, including the ones right here in Michigan. You don't have the energy. Wind is wonderful if you like high cost, if you like having to replace the windmills every 9 years. You know, they wear out, and they're very intermittent, and they do kill a hell of a lot of birds. If you want to see a lot of dead birds, go to a windmill and just look underneath. You'll see birds all over the place. This same rule has frozen virtually all new investment in large natural gas projects, setting us up for a horrible shortage of at least 30% of our electrical grid capacity in the future. So we're going to have much less in the future. We're closing down all our plants, just like trucks. They want you to make electric trucks, and the truckers come to see me. Sir, they don't work. One man had 29,000. He said, I started with nothing. I have 29,000 trucks. He said, I'd buy trucks, and every year they got better, they got more efficient, they got stronger, they got more beautiful. I started building apartments in the back of the cabs, right? You know what that is? He said, sir, you're rich, but you would have loved some of these apartments. I said, no, thanks, but that's okay. No, it's beautiful. This stuff is fantastic. We had 4 or 5 companies. I said, which one did the best? He said, they all do good, sir. But now they want us to go to electric trucks, and I'll have to stop 6 times on the way to California from New York, 6 times. And, sir, they weigh 2.5 times more than a gasoline or than a diesel-powered truck. I said, so what does that mean? He said, that means you're going to have to rebuild every bridge and every major roadway in the country just because of the weight. And they're very inefficient, and the battery is much bigger than the tank. And he was telling me the battery would take up at least half of the area right now that they use for hauling. I said, so when you tell people like that you'd have to rebuild every bridge in America, that you'd have to rebuild the roads, that the tank, that you have to stop 6 times from New York to California, he said, with a load of diesel, a good truck can go all the way and even start their way back. That's how good it is. And he said this, it was amazing because he said it right from the heart. He said, if they make us do this, I'll be out of business. We'll all be out of business. Your supply chain will be a disaster. But if they made us do this, every year that I bought a truck, it was better. They got better, better, better. We will have gone back 70 or 80 years. We'll have trucks that don't go far. We'll have trucks that don't work well. We'll have trucks that can carry a very small payload because of the size of the batteries and the weight. So I said, well, when you tell these officials this, what do they say? They say, we don't care. You're going all electric. So if you had a child, let's see, do we have any children? If you had a child, a beautiful boy in the green shirt, if you had just a little child saying, and he's not so little, he's a big boy, he's going to be a big one. But if you said to a child, it doesn't go far, it weighs too much, the payload's no good, and lots of other problems, and they're much more expensive, he would say, let's stay with diesel, right? These guys say, we don't care. Then they want to make our army tanks, you know, all electric. And the problem is they don't go far, they're the wrong torque. And you know where they want the battery? Because the battery is massive. They want you to, like you pull a wagon, a child pulls a wagon. They want to build a wagon at the back so it pulls the battery along. So they want to be environmentally friendly as we blast our way into a country that we hate, right? We want to take on these countries and be environmentally friendly. These people are deranged. They're deranged people. I will be the American energy president. I'll be a president for a lot. I'm going to be the automobile manufacturing president too. You watch. And it won't even be hard. I can do it with a pen. I can do it with a pen. Come in and build your plants in the United States, preferably here. But come in and build your plants in the United States of America. And if you don't, you're not allowed to sell cars here. And we're going to tax you at 150 or 200%. I did that with steel. And people are going to flow in. And the head of your union, who's absolutely terrible, I mean, give him an IQ test. I mean, this guy doesn't know what is happening. He's horrible. Sean Fain. He's horrible. What a terrible job. He sold out the union. And they automatically endorse, they automatically endorse Democrats for many, many years. But if you look at your car industry now and 25 years ago, it's like a different world. You've just, what you've lost is so bad. We can get it all back. We can get so much of it back because you're still the big market. And that's why we have to do it fast, because we have to remain the big market. The way we're going with this country, we're going to lose that. We're going to lose our currency values. We're going to lose the dollar standard. If we lose the dollar standard, that's like losing a war. If we don't have the dollar standard, we are a third world country. My goal will be to cut your energy costs in half within 12 months after taking office. So we can do that. If you have the oil supply, which we have more than anybody, your heating and air conditioning, electricity, gasoline, all can be cut down in half. Your gasoline, I had it down to $1.87. I had moments when it was much lower than that. To achieve this rapid reduction in energy costs, I will declare a national emergency to allow us to dramatically increase energy production, generation, and supply, which Comrade Kamala has destroyed. She's destroyed it. Starting on day one, I will approve new drilling, new pipelines, new refineries, new power plants, new reactors, and we will slash the red tape. We will get the job done. We will create more electricity also for these new industries that can only function with massive electricity, and we'll get it done. And nobody else is even going to come close. They won't even try. And if they did try, nothing would happen. Under President Trump, America's future will be energy abundance, energy independence, and soon we will be energy dominant. We're going to be dominant, much more so than Russia. We started off number 3. By the time I left, we were number 1 by a lot, and we were going to be doubling and tripling them up. The cutting of ANWR was a shame. Ronald Reagan tried to get it. He couldn't get it. Every president, they all tried to get ANWR. In Alaska, I got it. They think the size of Alaska in terms of what's under there. And in the first week in office, he terminated it. I got it all done. They were all started drilling. Took them a year and a half. They got everything perfect. They were all starting in Alaska to drill. And what a shame that is. ANWR could have been maybe the biggest site in the world, but we're going to get it back. It'll be back very quickly, I promise you that. Because I know the roadmap. I know that roadmap very well. People said, I can't believe you got ANWR. Ronald Reagan couldn't get, nobody could get it. And it was easier then, because now you have the environmental stuff at levels that, nobody's ever seen before. Much of it to stop us from making progress. I will also stop Chinese-owned electric vehicle battery companies from coming to Michigan and stealing our intellectual property, our workers' knowledge, and then sending it back to communist China. We're not going to let that happen. We're not going to let that happen. Every part of Comrade Kamala's economic plan looks like it was written for her by the Chinese Communist Party. It actually looks much of her. Now, in all fairness, she did an interview today. She didn't want to go in alone. How do you think President Xi is going to do with this? Oh, he's just savoring it. So she went in with this vice president guy that nobody ever heard of. And she did an interview with a very friendly reporter. We'll see. Maybe the friendly reporter, not friendly to a lot of other people. She was very fair to me, Dana Bash, very fair to me in the debate. We had the debate with Sleepy Joe. She was very fair, and Jake Tapper was very fair. I respect. I don't call him Fake Tapper anymore. I may have to start eventually, but no. But I thought they were very fair. I just said neutral. Could you be neutral? Would that be okay? And they were. They were pretty neutral. And but Dana Bash is interviewing Kamala, and people just want to see if she can get through the interview. Nobody knows what's going on. I've done so many interviews in the last couple of months. Every time I go out, I have an interview. I have people, reporters, we talk to them, and they ask me every question in the book, and we answer them, and you don't see any scandals brewing, nothing. We answer them properly. You have to, as president, you have to be able to deal. You're dealing with the toughest, smartest, most ruthless people in the world. If you can't do an interview, we got the wrong person. To get more relief to working class citizens and seniors on fixed incomes, we will have no tax on tips, and we will have no tax on Social Security benefits. And I did it 4 years. I didn't touch your Social Security, and they're going to end up adding a lot of years. I know, because I know people in that party, too. They're going to add 5 years, 6 years on. We're not going to add any years on. They're going to add, and they're going to destroy Social Security and Medicare because they have all these millions of people coming into the country. They want to make them citizens, and they want them to get onto Social Security, Medicare, and other plans. And that's going to be very destructive. It's going to destroy Social Security. In addition, as part of our efforts to help working families, I'm announcing today in a major statement that under the Trump administration, your government will pay for, or your insurance company will be mandated to pay for, all costs associated with IVF treatment, fertilization for women, IVF treatment. Because we want more babies, to put it very nicely. And for this same reason, we will also allow new parents to deduct major newborn expenses from their taxes, so that parents that have a beautiful baby will be able. So we're pro-family. Nobody's ever said that before. But the IVF treatments are expensive. It's very hard for many people to do it and to get it. But I've been in favor of IVF right from the beginning. You know, if you talk to them, they'll say, oh, he really doesn't like, they have ads like I'm against it. It's just the opposite. By comparison, they're against it, but I'm totally in favor of it. But we're going to do what I just said. We're going to pay for it, and it'll help families, because a lot of families can't use it. And a lot of these same families have been hurt so badly by their inflation. They caused the inflation, and we are going to pay for the IVF treatments, fertilization. They're going to pay for it. We're going to take care of it. And another key driver of inflation is the migrant invasion Kamala Harris has created on our southern border, which is causing immense inflationary pressure on housing and essential goods. There's never been anything like coming into our country. Border czar Harris, now she's saying, I was never named the border czar. Yes, she was. But we don't have to just say she was in charge of the border. We don't have to call her a czar. She wasn't really a czar. I think a czar is a compliment. Border czar Harris will import millions more illegal aliens and give them free housing and groceries, and I will send the illegal aliens back home where they belong. We have no choice. We have no choice. It's not like we cannot afford this. You know, if they got in 4 years, you'd have over 100 million people from all over the world. And remember this, crime rates are going down in all these countries because they're sending us their criminals, they're sending us their drug dealers, they're sending us their people that are in jails. And I don't have to go and crazy, but that's common sense. I would do the same thing. If I was running some nice country in South America or all over the world, the Congo in Africa, 22 people came out of jail recently. They sent them here. Where do you come from? Congo. Oh, that's nice. Where are you from in the Congo? Jail. Oh. What did you do? We don't want to say. You can imagine. Let me just tell you. Welcome. They're your citizens. And they're doing this all over the world. Tom Homan told me that, who's great, by the way. He's really great. Brandon Judd, all these guys. Paul, all these guys, they're incredible people. But the Border Patrol people are incredible, what they put up with from these incompetent lunatics that don't even talk to them. They said, we have, as of last week this year, 169 countries represented by people coming illegally into our country. 100. Most people don't even know you have that many countries. You know, some of those countries, we don't even know the language is a different language. We don't have anybody in our country that even speaks it. But they're pouring in, and many of them are the worst people in those countries, and their crime rates are going way down. In Venezuela, their crime rate has gone plummeted because they're sending their killers. And if you saw that skit today, and it was a skit, I thought it was, well, I've seen it all. I guess I didn't really think too much about it other than how bad it is. In Venezuela, did you see the gang of Venezuelans today? They took over a building. They literally took over the building, walked in with machine guns, gang members from Venezuela. You haven't seen even the beginning of this migrant crime. We're going to have a migrant crime. And just remember, you know, they have a hat. It said Trump was right about everything. And I have to say, I pretty much was right about everything. You're going to see, unfortunately, I wish I wasn't. I wish I wasn't. And be careful with World War III. I don't want to be right about that. And I'm not going to say, but I will tell you, we're close. October 7th would have never happened because Iran was broke with me. They had no money for Hezbollah. They had no money for Hamas. Russia would have never, ever attacked Ukraine. We would have had no inflation. You wouldn't have had that horrible, embarrassing mess, that horrible, horrible mess in Afghanistan. So many things. This country would be a totally different country now. And I will end deadly sanctuary cities in the state of Michigan and all across the country. Nobody wants them. Nobody wants them. So just sort of in concluding, here's what we know about Comrade Kamala Harris. She just doesn't care about the American people, especially hardworking people or middle-class Americans. She just doesn't give a damn about you. She does not care about the deaths, sex slavery, drugs, or criminals coming across our border. She's been vice president for almost 4 years, and she did nothing to stop the invasion of our country. She says that that's not her job, but it is her job. The President of the United States gave her that job. She just didn't do it, and she won't do it now. She does not care about the middle class struggling over inflation, the cost of gasoline, electricity, and she doesn't care about the cost of food. She does not care if you lose your job or cannot find another comparable job. She doesn't care. She does not care if you have to run up your credit card to levels that are unsustainable. She does not care if you and your family are struggling, and she did absolutely nothing to fix it. She's the vice president. She just does not care. She does not care about women's rights because she supported destroying women's sports and athletic scholarships. She wants men to play in women's sports. She's one of the leaders. Men should play in women's sports. You know she's far further left than Bernie Sanders. Think of it. Nobody wanted Bernie Sanders to be president. She's much further left than Bernie Sanders, rated #1. She makes Pocahontas look like a conservative. Do you know who Pocahontas is? Yes, Elizabeth Warren. She said her mother said that she had high cheekbones and therefore she's an Indian. No, I don't think so. Actually, that's a very racist statement that she said, isn't it? If I ever said that, that would be trouble. No, she said, my mother said I was Indian because I had high cheekbones. And then she put down on every application that she's an Indian, getting jobs all over the place. But we knocked her out of the presidential race pretty good, too. That's Pocahontas. They said, we want you to apologize to Pocahontas for using that term. I said, I will do that. People were shocked because I don't give up too easy. And I did apologize to Pocahontas, the real Pocahontas. I said, Pocahontas, I'm sorry I got you tied up with this person, this crazy person. Sorry, Pocahontas. I'm sorry, Pocahontas. But Elizabeth Warren is not nearly as radical left as this person, Kamala. But nobody knows Kamala because she doesn't do anything. She does not care about protecting little children from sex change operations because she chose Tampon Tim as her running mate, who believes the state, not mothers and fathers, should have the final say on sex change operations for their children. Do you know that? The state's allowed to decide whether or not they're going to do a sex change operation on their children. Kamala Harris wants to outlaw your car and truck and force you to buy electric vehicles, whether you like it or not. She couldn't care less. And you can't afford to do that because, again, they don't go far, but they're much more expensive. She does not care how it impacts you and your family. Kamala Harris does not care about senior citizens because she believes illegal aliens should receive Social Security and Medicare, which she knows will bankrupt those insurance programs, making it impossible for you to receive your pension and your health care, which you paid for your entire life. You've been paying for it. People are going to take it away. Those people that are coming in, remember, they're living in luxury hotels and our veterans are dying on the street. You know that. They're dying on the streets under the hotels. You have pictures last night, veterans dying on the street and other citizens, but veterans dying on the street. And inside the hotel, nice and high in nice rooms, the government's paying a fortune to keep illegal aliens that came into our country, many of them criminals. There's something wrong with the thought process. She wants to destroy your private health care, even if you like it, even if your employer contributes to it. And she wants Washington, D.C. to make your medical decisions. She wants Washington to decide what procedures, medicines, and care you should receive. Whether you like it or whether you don't, she doesn't care. Kamala Harris has had nearly 4 years to show us who she is. She is an uncaring politician with a radical ideology. She is a Marxist, just like her father. Despite her campaign of lies and flip-flops, we know who Kamala Harris is. She's the greatest flip-flopper of all time. She's copying every policy of Trump. Well, let's make her MAGA. I don't think so. Does anybody want to make Kamala MAGA? I don't think so. We'll send her a red hat without MAGA on it. We know by her actions and we know by her inaction. We know she does not care about working people, about the middle class, about the American citizen. She does not respect you. Ask the families of the 13 incredible service member heroes who died during the surrender of Afghanistan, which was surrendered by Kamala and Sleepy Joe, whether or not Kamala Harris cares about our young people and our military. Those incredible parents and sisters and brothers, they asked me to go yesterday to Arlington, and I did. And while I was there for a long time. It was very tough to get to because I was not in a good position to get there. It was very far away, but I did. I got there right on time, and I spent a lot of time there. And while I was there, those families that asked me to be there, as they said, 3 families plus 1 soldier who was horrifically injured, both legs and an arm. And they asked me if I would be there, so I went. And while we were there, they said, could you take pictures over the grave of my son, my sister, my brother? Would you take pictures with us, sir? I said, absolutely, I did. And then I said farewell. I said goodbye. And last night I read that I was using the site to politic, that I used it to politic. This all comes out of Washington, just like all of these prosecutors come out of Washington. They all come out. They send their prosecutors into the DA's office. They send them into the Attorney General's office. These are bad people we're dealing with. So I go there. They ask me to have a picture, and they say I was campaigning. I don't need – the one thing I get is plenty of publicity. I don't need that. I don't need the publicity. But these are great people, and when you think about it, Joe Biden killed their children by incompetence. Should have never happened. Kamala killed their children, just as though they had a gun in their hand, by gross incompetence. And not one general or incompetent bureaucrat was fired for the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country. And then they accused me of having a picture taken at the tombstone with a family because they love the president. They love me, and I love them. I got to know them. Ask the cops in the street trying to protect you from murderers and rapists and thugs if Kamala Harris cares about law-abiding citizens. Remember, defund the police. Ask the families of women raped and murdered by illegal aliens and the teenagers cut to shreds by gangs from El Salvador and Venezuela if Kamala Harris cares about you. She destroyed San Francisco. Harris has opposed school choice for poor inner-city kids. She has opposed police in schools to protect our children. She has defended stocking school library shelves with filthy graphic books, horrible books. She refused to prosecute pedophiles who molested children when she was DA and AG in California. Does this sound like someone who cares about your children? Kamala Harris has failed you. She has failed totally as Vice President of the United States. She's been a total failure. Nobody even knows who she is. She's broken trust with you. She's done nothing for the middle class, nothing for working families, and she's done absolutely nothing for hardworking people. Your eyes don't lie. You see it. You know it. We all see it. She's the sitting Vice President of the United States, and yet Nobody knows who the hell she is. She does not give a damn about you. This is the real Kamala Harris. And now she wants to get a promotion. Did the worst job. All she had to do is take care of the border. That would be okay. Just take care of the border. She couldn't even do that. She never even went there. She went to a location that you'd like to go to have dinner with your family. She never even went to the border effectively. Think of it. Never spoke to anybody. All of those great border agents, did you ever speak to her? No, nobody ever spoke to her. Well, I'm here to not give her a promotion. I'm here to give her a demotion. Because she can hide, she can lie through her surrogates and the corrupt media, and they are very corrupt, remember that? But the truth is coming out, and it will come out. The American people are smart. They are not to be manipulated by Hollywood, the fake news media, and advertising. And as you deserve, a president who respects you, talks to you, and who levels with you, puts it right on the level, and who always has your best interests and has your back. I have your back, I have your heart, and I have every other part of your body. All of us today are part of the greatest political movement in the history of our country. This is the greatest movement in the history of our country. We did something that we really broke them up. This was getting bad. We broke them up. They're not happy about it. They're nasty. But this is the greatest MAGA, Make America Great Again, the greatest movement in the history of our country. You know, outside, they won't ever report this. They never report it. Outside, you have thousands and thousands of people that couldn't get in. They don't get seats like you guys. They didn't get the seats that you got, believe me. But you have thousands and thousands of people outside, as far as the eye could see, as we're driving up. With your vote, we will deliver low taxes, low regulations, low energy costs, low interest rates, and low inflation so that everyone can afford groceries, a car, and a home. We will stop immediately the horrific invasion, end migrant crime, support our police, build a missile defense shield all around our country like other countries have. We make them here. It'll all be made right here, and it'll be made also in Michigan, a lot of it. But we're going to have... And Ronald Reagan wanted that many years ago, but the truth is at that point we didn't have the technology. Now we have great technology. You see that other countries have it. We don't have it. We're going to have the best of all. We're going to have a missile defense system going to be built in the United States, installed all over and around our country. We're going to restore peace through strength, which is what I did. We had no wars when Donald Trump was president. Now we have nothing but wars. Prime Minister Viktor Orban of Hungary, he said the reason that the world is a mess because Trump is no longer president. When Trump was president, they were afraid of Trump. I don't want to use that term, but he did. He said they were afraid. China was afraid. Putin was afraid. I stopped Putin's pipeline in Europe. I'm sorry, Vladimir. I can't let you do it. I stopped it. It was stopped cold. And then when Biden got in, the first day he approved it. Then they said Trump was weak on Russia. Putin said, if you're weak on us, I'd hate like hell to see if you're strong on us. But the war would have never happened, would have never, ever happened. But Viktor Orban said, you bring back Trump, and the whole world is going to be a safer place. We're going to keep critical race theory and transgender insanity out of our schools. We're going to keep men out of women's sports. And we're going to return our society based on merit, which the Supreme Court has given us the right to do, based on merit. We're going to go back to a merit system. If you're good at something, that's what you get. The Supreme Court approved that. That was courageous. We will defend the Second Amendment. We're going to do something that I think is very important. We're going to restore free speech, and we will really, truly restore. We're going to fix our elections so that our elections are going to be honorable and honest, and people leave and they know their vote is counted. We are going to have free and fair elections, and ideally we go to paper ballots, same-day voting, proof of citizenship, very big, and voter ID. Very simple. Very simple. One-day voting. One day. You ever see these things? You know, everyone's talking about November 5th. But Forget November 5th. It starts on September 6th in various states, North Carolina, but various states, Delaware. It starts on November 6th. Goes months and months voting. Why are those boxes being moved around? Why are those ballots being moved? Why are they not there? Sir, we're fixing the air conditioning in that particular. It is so bad. It is so out of control. Everyone under President Trump will prosper. Every family will thrive. And Michigan manufacturing will dominate like never before. You're going to dominate like never before. But for that to happen this election day, you must tell Comrade Kamala, Comrade, you're doing a horrible job. You've been a terrible vice president, a horrible, horrible border czar. You're not a border czar. You're a border patsy. You were played by every country in the world. The worst job we've ever seen, probably the worst vice president we've ever had. He certainly was the worst president. Comrade Kamala, you're fired. Get out of here. You're fired. Get out of here. Get out of here. It's amazing they can have support. I don't get it. Who would support somebody that wants open borders? Who would support somebody that wants men in women's sports? You see the boxing in the Olympics? Two transitioned people. They transitioned from men to women, did you see? Fighting a young, beautiful Italian boxer, top boxer. They thought big things from her. And then, bing, a left jab, just a jab. She go, whoa, what? I just got hit with a horse. Again, bing. She said, I'm out. She quit. She couldn't take it. 2 punches. The second one, likewise, got into the ring with a couple of very talented women. Just beat the hell out of them. They both won the gold medal. Shockingly. Are you shocked? You're not shocked, huh? In fact, you would have bet everything. You would have bet 100%. The odds were pretty good, right? And then you have people like Kamala. How about weightlifting? Weightlifting record set many years ago. They'd put 1/8 of an ounce on each side. 18-year-old record. They go out there. They're strong women. They can't quite make it, though. Guy comes out. Have you lifted before? No. How do I do it? Just put your hands in the bar and try and look. Okay, you mean like this? Oh. They beat it by like hundreds of pounds. The whole thing is crazy. And nobody wants to complain. You know, the women, like the swimmers, they don't like to complain. They're really afraid to complain because they'll be accused of bad things. But look at the swimmers. They come out, they're Olympic swimmers, and they look left, they look right. They see people that they were growing up with, great swimmers, and then they look over and they see this huge. It was Wilt Chamberlain, but slightly bigger. And she says, well, look at the size of this person. I don't recognize the person from California, from the California swim groups that I participated in for 10 years before I got to the Olympic trials. And this person blew them away. In fact, it was very sad. They got past so fast. The wind was so tremendous that she suffered wind burns. They had to take her out of the pool. All right. Now we joke about very serious subjects. I mean, it's so sad. But really what's sad is that people that would want something like that, and it's so demeaning to women, right? Don't you think it's so demeaning to women? We love women. That's so demeaning to women. Never had anything like it, but you have to watch the fights. It just says it. It says it so simply. You watch these two fights, it was like they didn't even have to do anything. Olympic gold. They won Olympic gold. They transitioned. So get your friends, get your family, register, volunteer, and get out, and you got to vote. And Pete, you are doing a great job, by the way. I see you sitting there. You are doing a great job. Pete Hoekstra. I'm glad I remembered to introduce him. He would have quit just before the election. He's doing it. We're doing good, right? Yeah, he was a great congressman. He was the one we earmarked, right, Mike? We wanted Pete. And I hear you're doing a fantastic job. We appreciate it very much. On November 5th, we will save our economy. We will rescue our middle class. We will put America first, and we will make America great again. We're going to make America greater than ever before. We're going to bring back your car industry. We're not going to just keep it a little bit that you have left. You lost most of your industry. We're going to bring back your car industry. We're going to let them build plants, but they're not building them in Mexico. They're going to build them in the United States of America. And they're going to be fired up by our auto workers. And we're going to bring them back in numbers that nobody can believe, and I can do it so easily. We were all set to do it, and then we had the COVID disaster come in from, and we did a great job, never got the credit for it, the ventilators, the therapeutics that we did, the robes, the goggles, everything. But what China did was very bad, very bad. But we're going to bring it all back to this state. You're going to have the greatest state in the world for automaking. You're coming back with automaking because that's what you do and that's what you do best. And a lot of these people, even if it's just job-related, auto worker-related, this is what they want to do. And they want to be here. They don't want to have to move. But you're not going to have any place to move because other jobs are going to be gone too. They're taking away all our jobs. We're not going to let it happen. We're going to make America great. We're going to make America the production capital, manufacturing capital of the world, and it's going to happen very fast. I hope you're going to go out and vote for me because, honestly, if you don't, our country is finished. Thank you. God bless you. God bless America. Thank you, everybody.